Back to my channel! Today we have a chit chat with my friend Thato. Thato, introduce yourself.
Hi, you did not give me that school, but okay. Hi, I'm Thato. I am a student, an intern, and a podcaster. I don't know.
We'll be dropping details of the dial and Tato's podcast in the description box. So today, guys, it's a chit chat, and we're having makotas. I already started eating mine, and the topic.
What are we supposed to start?
Well, I just grabbed the bread and I started eating.
No, I was saying, why didn't you give me a heads up? I was
sorry,
waiting for
Tato,
the
we can
intro.
start eating.
Okay.
Today's topic is love languages in friendships. And the reason that's the topic for today is I feel like we're always so quick to discuss love languages in our relationships, like romantic relationships, but we forget that the existence of being human is fundamentally based on having relationships. Let it be relationships with your mom and dad, your siblings, your friends.
Can I ask?
Yeah?
Why did you pick me for the topic?
Because I feel like we're always discussing behaviors in friendships.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like how people sometimes act weird, move weirdly.
Mm-hmm.
I ain't stabbing nobody. Ngidli Russian. More catch us up.
Yeah.
Kindly don't drag me on Twitter. Just drop location kuna soda once. So yeah, I picked you because I feel like we have that discussion a lot. And I don't want to pick someone who has a similar perspective to me when it comes to things like friendships.
But I mean, I thought we were on the same page.
You're on the same page, but I feel like with like let's make an example with Grace, you would have been very.
Give them context. Who's Grace?
Grace is my other friend, the YouTuber Grace Patelezi. Check out her channel.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like with Grace, we are always like similar in the thought process of how we should handle things. Some people even would say we're the same person when it comes to handling things.
But I'm the one that basically counteracts why whatever you're doing is wrong.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So the first question is, what is your toxic trait in a friendship? Personally, let me answer it first so I can eat while Tato finishes chewing, like, alternating. Mm-hmm. I feel like I'm very passive aggressive. I'm aware of the fact that I'm passive aggressive. But I also get over things very quickly. We may fight today. Give me 2 days, I'll be back to my normal self.
That's crazy.
It is crazy. I know it's crazy, and I know it's unhealthy to a degree to be passive aggressive instead of addressing issues. Mm-hmm. But I feel like that's how I personally handle them, and that's very toxic for me.
Do you have napkins? Sorry.
Sure, we can look for some. I don't know.
No, it's fine.
Like, do you get napkins at a quarter store and then or no?
I was asking a question. Don't find me.
So, I feel like that's my toxic trait, being passive. But I get over things quickly. Yours?
I think my toxic trait is, I don't know if it's toxic because it's sometimes good to be selfish when you cut someone off. Mm-hmm. But like there's times where I don't even want to deal. I'm just like, you know what, snip, and I do it without like explaining. Not that like I owe you that explanation, but it's kind of like ghosting. Like when someone thinks they're your friend, but it's like, no, dude, I'm done with you. Then they find out by your actions that you're done with them. But it's like, for them, it's just kind of like, what did I do wrong? Which is kind of bad because it's like, shame. This person's going to be burdened with those thoughts for like all their lives. And maybe they actually appreciate you as a friend.
So you ghost in friendships? I low-key ghost sometimes.
I know. Which is weird because I did a podcast episode on ghosting and how
does that feel?
No, but what's the thing? I've realized I've grown though. The last time I did that was literally like 2 years ago. So I'm at a stage where now I'm a lot better. But I think it's because I've surrounded myself with people that I actually want to keep in my life.
People like me.
Okay.
I wonder, people always say I'm a bad influence, but look,
Oh, wow.
Thato has grown in my presence.
Oh, wow.
Interpret that how you will. But she's grown in my presence. Second question I want to ask, having identified our toxic traits, have you made a conscious effort to fix it? Well, you said you've become better.
Yeah, definitely. Like now I can say that if there's something wrong or there's some qualm, whatever, I do actively reach out and say, okay, things are weird right now. What is happening? Or I see this is being said or this is being done. Do you understand? Whether you could never. Yes, I'm a passive aggressive hands. Toxic hands. Okay.
Let's say I'm working on it.
Okay.
I'm working on being less passive aggressive. But I feel like in working towards being less passive aggressive, people misinterpret my silence as being passive aggressive. Sometimes I'm just quiet because I don't want to say anything. I want to chat about it.
You lie.
I'm not always talkative, believe it or not.
No, but I chose that. Let me relate this, ne? If, let's say, okay, when you're passive aggressive across the board, but I mean, if you actively want to make something work, you will. What am I saying? No. What I'm trying to say is like, when you act like you're being passive aggressive. You could take the necessary steps to reach out to somebody and let them know, okay, why is this being said? Why is this being done? Why are the vibes like this between us, right? But I feel like you actually know what you're doing. Don't act like, oh, sometimes I'm quiet. No.
So I can't be quiet.
No, it's not that you can't be quiet, but when you know things are not grand, why are you not saying anything? Aside from...
So what happens when you reach out to someone and they miss your text?
Okay, then at least you did your part. You're not the problem. And then if you decide, okay, let me continue my passive aggressiveness, they can't bother you.
Because I found in some situations when you reach out to someone and they're not ready to meet you in conversation, you can't necessarily force them to meet you in conversation. So what happens?
Yeah, snip. You did your part. I think you should just know that you went to sleep knowing you tried.
Did you get me a quota with acha?
You didn't say you didn't want acha.
I don't eat acha.
Well, you didn't say.
Okay, guys, this is the first time I'm eating acha. Cludy would be proud. Shout out to Cludy in Russia. Finally trying acha. Second question. And this is a question that I would love everyone to answer in the comment section. Are you a good friend if you're not dependable or reliable?
Define.
So,
or give a scenario, because that's quite bad.
Are you a good friend if I know I can't come to you in the case of an emergency because you are very flighty? Like, you're not reliable. Because I feel like in relationships, like romantic relationships, we expect our partners to be reliable. Like, for example, you expect your boyfriend to meet you at a certain point in your relationship. Let it be, let's say you are stuck on the N1. You'd expect him to come and find you. He's being reliable, he's being dependable. But are you a good friend if you know people can't call you to do those things?
Are you a good... I think the reason why I'm struggling with this one is because you're relating it to an isolated thing. So
look at it.
My thing is there's multiple things that make a good friend. Mm-hmm. If I excel in all those things, but now you find that I might not be dependable, mm-hmm. To the point where you can't contact me and be like, friend, can you pick me up from the airport? You know what I mean? Doesn't make me a bad friend despite me fulfilling all the other roles, like calling you. Okay, I guess that's part of being dependable when you're going through the most. And
I'll tell you why I'm asking this question. I'll relate it to something. You know how we all have love languages in relationships? Love languages in friendships. What if my love language is knowing that I can depend on my friends? This is not my love language, by the way. I tend to be a very super independent person who does things on my own terms at my own time. I'm a problem, in fact. But we'll deal with that later. And yeah. So what if it's your friend's love language? Do you now fix yourself to meet your friend halfway? Or do you tell your friend that I feel like being dependable? But focus on the other good points.
My chat is no. And we need to talk about the broader spectrum, like the reality of friendships. When we talk about love languages now, we always usually pertain it to our romantic partner. It's one person. When we talk about friends, this is multiple people, right? And usually in cases like that, there's always one that I guess you're closer to, or one or two or three that you're closer to than the rest. You know what I mean? Because you can easily say that, okay, you know, a lot of people identify you as their friend, but they're not gonna go no, but but I'm saying they're not gonna go out of their way to learn your love language. You know what I mean? Because y'all ain't like that. Do you understand? So I think also it really depends on the rank of friendship that the person is, right? But if, let's say, the person ranks high, so ranking high means like you both are reciprocal, like this person messes with you, you mess with her, like you guys meet each other halfway in all aspects. That person is worth learning their love language, figuring out what makes them happy, what makes them feel like, you know, like worthy of being your friend. You understand? So I'm gonna relate it to like Grace. We have a friend who's a DJ, and she really, really appreciates it when we support her, when we RT her gigs, when we go to her gigs. I think that would be like what that would be like acts of service. That love, like, if you guys know the 5 love languages, there's physical touch, quality time, words of affirmation, acts of service, and receiving of gifts. So I feel like obviously love languages are universal, but there's always the one that ranks higher than the other, and. So for Grace, for instance, she likes it when we support her, when we go to her gigs and stuff like that. She's made it clear. So because I want to maintain that relationship and make her feel like I am here for her, I will go to her gigs. I will promote her stuff on my social media, word of mouth. You understand? So I think it's more about understanding who is your friend. Let's start there, and seeing if that person's worth learning their love language. Do you understand? Because next minute you're learning someone's love language, when it's like cool, buying them gifts, whatever.
Group friends.
Hey, can't do your group friends. This person doesn't even know when your birthday is, or they don't care to wish you. You know what I mean? Like, you have to know that you're doing the most for someone who's doing the most for you. And learning love languages is that intimate way. I know where now you also will go out of your way to make sure you make sure that you are also catering to mine. Do you understand?
So what's your love language in a friendship?
In a friendship, the highest ranking one would be acts of service. You know, I love it when, for instance, you know, my friends are supporting me without me even having to ask. You know, that's a service. Like, you're promoting my stuff, or like you're putting me on or whatever without me even having to ask. So I really appreciate that. It means a lot. And also words of affirmation. It's nice to know that you're doing well, you're loved. Yeah.
What are my love languages in a friendship? When you bring me food, I like that. I like
the receiving of gifts.
I like food as a gift. Oh, please don't touch me.
So you don't want physical touch?
I don't even...
Oh, man. We used to cuddle.
Against my will. No. Physical touch is not one of my things. I don't like being touched in general. So I would say acts of service, quality time. I do enjoy spending time with my friends. Even though I do like sometimes blow them off low-key.
No, but wait, friend. Quality time isn't limited to me seeing you face to face. It can even be a phone call conversation, a video call. You understand?
Sure, I actually do call my friends a lot. And I do try to maintain like a healthy relationship. If I'm not texting you, I'm tweeting you. If I'm not tweeting you, I'm liking your Instagram post. keeping it like fluid. Do you think people have high expectations in friendships? Because I've heard of situations where people
Actually, I think they do, because yes, it's so easy for us to cut off friends when they've done us wrong, right? But I think it's because there's that automatic expectation that they should know better. They know me inside and out. You should just know not to behave like this, you know. Whereas I'm gonna talk about like people in romantic relationships that fights begazelaring. Do you understand? And it's like, okay, how are you so forgiving le motonana, but you can't be forgiving with your friend? Not that I'm saying like any form of shadiness needs to be weeded out straight off the bat, but it's like the love language thing. If a friend maybe does something that doesn't sit well with you, and maybe they're not aware, why would you cut them off instead of letting them know that, okay, listen, this made me uncomfortable, this didn't sit well with me, this is how in future you should deal with this. Do you understand?
My second question is, do we afford our friends the same opportunity to learn and unlearn as we afford our partners?
Yes. It's a relationship. Like, guys, why aren't we being consistent across the board? The way, okay, I guess family is different, but I mean, it's still a relationship it's still yeah, I guess you can cut them off, but I mean, like, see, relationships are across the board, you know what I mean? So I don't understand why you treat one person a certain way and the other differently just because they get to kiss you and smash.
Because I've seen I've seen on Twitter, people genuinely are so forgiving towards their partners, but they're friends, man. People have cut off people for weird things. Maybe they're weird to me, not to invalidate what the other person is feeling, obviously. I may never know how another person is feeling, but people will cut off their friends because she hasn't texted me in a week. Like weird stuff, like petty stuff.
That's different. Yeah, yes. I think for me, because...
But you've read petty stuff on the TL of how friendships are.
No, I know, but the what you're saying now about they're petty to you, at the end of the day, we're all different. There is no sort of blueprint to how we should go about friendship. But what you should understand is, when you're getting into a friendship with someone, if you want to maintain it, then there's no harm in knowing what takes them off and what keeps them on board. Do you understand? So if you know that this person does want to be texted once a week because they like that quality time with their friend. Yes, to us it's about like, whoa. But I mean, to them, it means something. Okay, then...
I feel like those things sometimes come effortlessly. Like we text probably like 3 or 4 times in the week. Because they come effortlessly. It's not demanding for me to like ask you to text me like every week and we have nothing to chat about.
I guess for some, like, I don't know. Maybe it just works for us, but I get to other people. There are people there that don't touch their phones. So then what happens? I think they're wrong also, because, like, why are you not checking up on your friend, boo? But at the end of the day, people do things their certain way. It really comes to the point that, it really comes to the fact that you as a person, do you want to involve yourself in a friendship with this person despite how demanding they might be? If you choose to stay, then don't be shocked when she comes at you on some, but you haven't texted me. Are we friends? You know what I mean?
Finally, this is our last question. Do you think you're a good friend?
I think I'm an amazing friend. I think I'm good. I think I'm good because I'm like one thing, and you can't even fight this. I think I'm the same across the board. Like
no
this
shame.
This thing of talking about consistency.
Like, across the board, no.
Fact. No, but I mean, like, you know, I don't give too much attention to the one person. Even my boyfriend, you know what I mean? Like, I don't, you know that thing some people do where they meet a partner and they kind of neglect their friends. I feel like I've still tried my best to make sure I've tried my best to make sure that all of you guys get a piece of me, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm just such a hot commodity.
She really is. I'm not gonna lie. In terms of me, am I a good friend? Is it a trick question? Gag is, I'm an amazing friend.
Sure.
I'll catch hands for my friends, depending on the day though. If I'm so from the gym, please reschedule.
Unless you're passive aggressive winner. Passive aggressive queen.
Not always.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm mediocre passive. Sometimes I'm passive but I laugh.
Come to these levels, okay.
You know there's levels.
Yeah.
You must know. When I switch off my phone, yes, yes, I'm upset. When I switch off my phone and I sit in the dark, and my phone, if you can't get a hold of me for 6 hours, I'm upset.
Don't you know, days we used to lock your door even?
Yes, when I just lock everyone out.
The drama. Babes, would turn off, switch off the lights even. We know you're in there, boo-boo.
I would switch off the lights, guys, switch off my phone. And I would hear them shout, Lelo, Lelo. Pretend like they're not there. And like, obviously I would switch on my phone like for an hour to check on my family and stuff. And obviously I'll get a message from Thato like, girl, I want my makeup bag. I'll put it on the kitchen table, lock my door to my bedroom. So that when she pulls through, the main door is open and she can get her makeup bag.
That's a toxic trait. You toxic, hun.
That's 2016 though. You bring up things that happened like 3 years ago. I'm such a different person now.
I'm proud.
I only switch off my phone now. That is growth.
That's still toxic, hun behavior.
But that's growth. That's growth. Like, because if you send me an email, obviously you get it on my laptop. If you're that concerned about trying to find me, who's on Tola. But Thato. Thato. Thank you for joining me on Lelo's lifestyle. These quotas were amazing.
They were good.
I really didn't eat the acha,
You guys
guys.
can get them from Marx's Bunny Chow.
I really didn't eat the acha.
Acha.
King, what's this?
It's the mango.
Not gonna happen. Anyway, guys, thank you for joining me for this chit chat. Thato, where can they find you? Where can they follow you?
On Twitter, I'm T_MPH. Are you gonna put it in your description?
Yes.
I know it'll be there. Other than that, my Instagram is private, so
You're keeping it private. You're keeping it on the rock.
You know, depends, but it's the same handle. T_MPHOSI. And you can follow our podcast. I have a podcast with a friend of mine, the Dial Podcast. So it's at the Dial Podcast on Twitter only.
Where can you guys find me? Lelo Mbanja on Instagram. One word. Twitter, it's Queen Lelo _M. Otherwise, nizongithola la kwa YouTube. Like, comment, and subscribe.